On the first day of 2023, I posted a weblog and said that I wish that there would be people who can chant 108 times of Vajra Guru Mantra along with me because the merit would be great. And then I just checked that there were about 1.38 million times of read on that weblog. And that is only a part of it. I'm not sure if the majority of those people would make the aspiration to chant, but I didn't make the requirement for you to do so because certain personnels asked me to be low-key at this moment. I need to be low-key at this moment, let it be on the internet or a different aspect. I think it's probably better for me not to speak too much of it. However, the Padmasambhava mantra, I really hope that through your own language or through other methods, if you can chant it, that would be really beneficial. That would be really wonderful, and many people would be benefited greatly through chanting this. There is nothing that violates the law by asking you to chant it or practice it. Well, simply spreading this teaching or simply spreading or encourage others to chant this, there is nothing that is illicit about it. So you can try to encourage others to chant this mantra. In fact, this Padmasambhava mantra, I hope that you can chant it and you can, through various ways to chant it. Not only that, if you can make prayer flags with this mantra and put it on the top of mountains, then through wind, this mantra would be able to benefit sentient beings everywhere as well. Now that in many places, in order to protect the environment, it is not allowed to hand those prayer flags everywhere. Also, I hope that the fellow sanghas over here, you don't hand those prayer flags everywhere around your house, because in that way, according to the Tibetan tradition or the customs, it is considered that you have died. That is why all the prayer flags are around your house. So it is the best to put it somewhere that is close, that is clean, not on metals, not on the ground, not around the side of the bridge, because there would be different, or the underneath the bridge, because underneath the bridge, that means different beings would step on top of the flags or on top of the mantra. That is not appropriate. There are great merits and qualities in terms of placing or hand those prayer flags, but it is not very convenient to do that nowadays. It's not convenient to hand those prayer flags, not convenient to release life. It is not convenient to practice smoke offering and so on and so forth. All of these things used to be the kinds of virtuous deeds I really enjoy doing, but because of different regulations, it is not convenient to practice them, to do them anymore. However, when we look at other phenomena in this world, in the society, if you want to create negative deeds, everything is convenient. Anyhow, we should not stop doing virtuous deeds just because they're not convenient. Other than that, in Tibet we can see there are chiseled money rocks. The rocks that has mantras chiseled on them. Sometimes it's the money mantra, sometimes the other mantras. Right across the Larungar over here on the mountains, there are some Tibetan money mantra heaps of those money mantra rocks, and they form letters. That is Ijino praying to Phuntsog Rinpoche, or Phuntsog Rinpoche Rinpoche, please grant your blessings. Though the Chinese corresponding Chinese characters are not the same. However, I think it is really important to chisel those mantras and place them around the road or the mountains. In that way, all the seeing, touching, and hearing and thinking of them would generate a great merit. If you can carry the mantra with you at all times, that would be even better. Now that we have the liberation upon touching, and then through touching or through through touching, and then if you put this mantra written on a blue paper with gold ink, and have that in your liberation through touch amulet or little bag, that would be really helpful. Back in 2016 or 2015, we made a really beautiful amulet that has both of the Padmasambhava mantra as well as the hair and clothing of Phuntsog Rinpoche. That was made with lots of effort and thought. A lot of thoughts were put into it. If a person were to wear it all the time, and at time of death, this particular mantra, you don't necessarily have to take it away from the body. You can keep it. In that way, this person would be able to be born in Sukhavati. If you can write the mantra of Vajra Guru, the quality is really great. So I really hope that you can write it more. Now that we don't have many people would write it, but if you can print it, that's also really wonderful. And if you can't print it, now we have this virtual paper, and you can send it to others as well. In the past, we would use calligraphy, but now I think if you can send it to others, then the merit and quality is the same. So chanting, writing of this mantra, the merit is unfathomable. In order to benefit the sentient beings of the future, Padmasambhava said that I will hide it in different places. Not so sure where Karma Limpa reviewed this particular term. Well, in the lineage, we usually would say that, it is the best. The benefit of writing, reading, and reciting Vajra Guru Mantra are immeasurable. For the benefit of sentient beings in the future, write this down and conceal it. May this meet with those of the fortune and merit, Samaya. For those with wrong views, this is sealed to secrecy, and it is entrusted to those with pure Samaya. This was brought forth by Karma Limpa and copied down from a golden scroll. Through various kinds of merits and the causes and conditions, finally this particular terma was reviewed. Unlike the turtle nowadays, they would use various kinds of mundane tools to discover or review terma. In fact, back then, those termas are reviewed in a different way. Sometimes they are concealed in the wisdom realm, and sometimes the turtles would be able to remember the stories or remember the teachings given by Padmasambhava exactly as how he gave it. This is really by relying on the power of causes and conditions or of dependent origination. Well, some people asked whether my book of the memoir when Phuntsog Rinpoche went to India and Nepal was a terma. I said, well, it is not considered as a terma because it hasn't been for that long yet. It is in this lifetime, but not after many lifetimes. However, indeed, I remembered many of the things that happened back then through certain causes and conditions. I, for example, had an old calendar, and through that, I remembered many things. 1995, we went to different places and I asked Khenpo Sodargye whether he kept some calendar so that maybe that would be helpful to remember some of the things that had happened back then. In 1995, we went to Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong. A few of us, those of us who went to India, on top of that, also Khenpo Sodargye went there with us. When Ponso Rinpoche traveled abroad 3 times, I went with him for all those 3 times. And now I have already completed the memoir of traveling with him for the previous 2 times. Somehow, though the trip to Malaysia and Singapore is much closer to the timeline now, but it's very vague for both myself and Khenpo Sodargye. I only remembered Khenpo Sodargye and I were around the seaside and we were joking. Other things were rather quite blurry. We went to Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia. We were invited by Karma Kagyu Center as well as the Dharma Center in Singapore, where Ponso Rinpoche taught the Maha'ati teaching of Manjushri as well as self-liberation of equality composed by Longchenpa. It lasted for about a month. I think it should be an easy project for me to finish. If I have causes and conditions, I would love to finish that. Anyhow, these tertones, through different causes and conditions, Padmasambhava said that they would be able to record it. After recording it, the teaching is infused with great powers and blessings. And these kinds of teachings are the true termas because they are endowed with great blessings and great power. When we study and practice terma, it would be the best for us to practice the ones that's already included in Rinchen Dzong. Now that there are many self-claimed tertones, so it is best for us to rely on the ones that is trustworthy. Over here, he said that, meet with those of fortune and merit, samaya, jia, jia, jia. And for those with wrong views, this is sealed to secrecy, jia, jia, jia. It is entrusted to those with pure samaya, jia, jia, jia. I somehow remember, because jia, jia, jia means seals. When I went abroad, I remember that we got lots of seals on the passport. Similarly, in order to grant them to read or make connections, those fortunate disciples has the seals to read it, and for the ones that has wrong views, this is sealed to secrecy, and then seal. This particular text was reviewed by Karma Limpa, and his termas indeed has great blessings, including the 6 Bardo teachings, which is widely propagated. So later, I really hope that you can practice some of the 6 Bardo teachings, especially for those of you who have already finished your Ngöndro practices. So in the future, I would like to provide maybe some audios or videos because I've already finished giving teachings of the 6 Bardos for 10 years. Now, please supplicate to Karma Limpa and practice this termas, because the causes and conditions are indeed really wonderful, and I'm happy that we've already completed this teaching. Now I hope you can chant the Vajra Guru Mantra constantly, and later whenever we have more causes and conditions, we will have more teachings on it as well, because the merit and qualities of Vajra Guru Mantra is indeed very vast and profound. It's been many years because it was translated back in 2009 on August 26th, and today is on the 19th of August. It's been many years, and today let us make the dedication of merit together.